In this video, we're going to look at some ways that you can maximize your points on Quiz 2 for Week 6. The first question that tends to trip students up is number 2. It says the prevalence of a trait is 76.8%. In a simple random sample of n equals 50, how many individuals are expected to exhibit this characteristic, and what is the corresponding standard deviation of this estimate? So that's two questions. A lot of times students miss that there are two questions here. How many individuals are expected to exhibit this characteristic, and then what is the corresponding standard deviation of this estimate? Okay, so make sure you answer both questions. The next question that tends to trip people up is number 5. Okay. A survey selects a simple random sample of n equals 500 people from a town of 55,000. The sample shows a mean of 2.3 health problems per person. Based on this information, say whether each of the following statements are true or false. Explain your reasoning in each instance. No calculations are necessary. So really number 5 is 4 questions. A, true or false, and then your reasoning. B, true or false, and your reasoning. Okay. So for A, it is reasonable to assume that the number of health problems per person will vary according to a normal distribution. Okay. So some variables naturally follow a normal distribution and some don't. You have to think about the number of health problems a typical person or population would have. Okay. This question has nothing to do with the sample mean or the fact that, or whether or not the sample mean has a normal distribution. Okay? You're simply looking at what number of health problems is a person likely to have, and it's going to vary. So you can't answer, oh, it's not going to be normal because it varies. That doesn't make any sense. All random variables vary. Okay? Think about what it looks like, how many health problems people have. For example, if you were going to have a survey of your 20 closest friends and you ask them all how many health problems would you have, okay? Or do you have, and you put those answers in a histogram, okay, right? Count how many people have 0 health problems, how many people have 1 health problem, 2 health problems. What would that distribution look like? Would it be a bell curve like a normal distribution, or would it look like something else? Okay, most students do pretty well with B. Number 6, you're doing a 2-sided hypothesis test. Okay. So make sure you do all of the steps. You need your hypotheses, both the null and alternative. You need a test statistic. You should have a p-value that goes with the test statistic, but also corresponds to your significance, to your alternative hypothesis. You need a p-value. Okay, you likely need a p-value. And then you have to figure out whether or not that p-value is going to cause you to fail to reject the null or to reject the null. You have to say why that p-value caused you to do that. Don't just say, my p-value is this, so I did this. You have to explain why. And finally, you should include a sentence at the end that explains the results of the study in non-statistical terms. I hope you find these tips helpful.